vices, if he's a consumer of the people we just rattled off, from Lauren Boebert to Tucker Carlson, let's get it out. Let's get it out at trial. Let's expose it for what it is, name it and shame it. He's a consumer of these people, and those people should face civil consequences from the victims.
Since April and March, really, the LGBT community has been the main focus of this hatred. There is a pipeline. It starts from some smaller accounts online, like Libs of TikTok. It moves to the right-wing blogosphere, and then it ends up on Tucker Carlson, or it ends up out of a right-wing politician's mouth. And it's a really dangerous cycle that does have real-world consequences.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This clip I got to show you guys from CNN is one for the books, because this is what happens when facts start to destroy your narrative because you didn't wait for all the facts to come out before pushing a false, slanderous, and defamatory narrative against people who you disagree with politically, as the Colorado gay bar shooter turned out to be allegedly non-binary, and CNN was shocked, speechless when they found out this information. Take a look.
So, attorneys for the accused shooter, Anderson Lee Aldrich, say in new court filings tonight that the suspect now identifies as non-binary. In a footnote to a motion asserting legal privileges, the public defenders say, quote, Anderson Aldrich is non-binary. They use they, them pronouns, and for the purposes of all formal filings will be addressed as Mix Aldrich. So in other words, not Mr. or Ms. Joining me now, CNN political commentator Errol Lewis, also back with me, Al Franken and Joe Walsh. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's not anything that we had heard from his background. You know, people have been looking into his background, and I don't know if anybody here, are you guys lawyers? I mean, you know, I don't know if I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's what he's now saying.
It sounds like they're trying to prepare a defense against a hate crimes charge. That's the least of his problems, legally speaking, but it looks like they're trying to build some kind of sympathy or at least confusion on the question of whether or not this was purely motivated by hate.
I mean, that is what it sounds like. We'll wait to see.
Yeah, so what you just saw there is step by step what happens, right? This is the mental gymnastics that the mainstream liberal media goes through when their narrative starts to fall apart, okay? What you do is at first you're in disbelief, you're shocked, okay, because you didn't expect that this guy is a part of the LGBTQ community. You didn't expect that. You thought this guy was going to be a straight white male Trump supporter, right, that was out here, you know, trying to just kill gay people just because they're gay, okay? That's the narrative that they put out. And then once you find out that, hey, you know, he actually is a part of the LGBTQ community, he is non-binary, you don't have anything to say, and then you say, well, you know, he's only non-binary because it's a defense against hate crime charges. That's what it is, right? That's what it is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about CNN's reaction. But first, I actually want to be fair and to play another clip in which there is more information that has come out overnight about who this guy is and what his motivation may or may not have been, according to a friend of his that allegedly the FBI talked to. So let's go ahead and play the clip.
The shooting in Virginia, America is still trying to heal from the Saturday night attack on an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs. Now, the suspected shooter is set to virtually appear in court for the first time later today. They're facing a multitude of charges, including 5 counts of first-degree murder and 5 counts of bias-motivated crimes. Prosecutors have yet to say if federal hate crimes are going to be added to the list. NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett joins us now from the Club Q Memorial in Colorado Springs with the latest. Maura, good morning. So we're learning more about the suspected shooter, including their preferred pronouns. So what more can you tell us about that? What can we expect to see in court later today?
Yeah, good morning, Joan. Overnight, we're learning from court filings from the suspect's defense attorney that the suspect, Anderson Lee Aldrich, identifies as non-binary and prefers to use the pronouns they, them. Now, we had known that the suspect had changed their name when they were a teenager, but we hadn't had any information about their pronouns until now. And obviously, we don't know what that could mean in terms of any indications or planning around motive for this shooting. But we're also learning new information overnight. Our affiliate speaking with a neighbor of the suspect, the neighbor saying that they had become friends playing video games and over tech because they lived right across the hallway from each other. But the neighbors that he'd been interviewed by the FBI for hours, the neighbors saying that the suspect had talked about hate for the LGBTQ plus community before, and that he was, quote, not someone that he would bring his gay friends around. And so that is something that we'll definitely be monitoring. The suspect is expected to make his first appearance in court virtually today, where we should see charges introduced, those 5 counts of murder, those 5 counts of bias-motivated crime, potentially, as well as other charges, the district attorney said as well. So we'll be monitoring that. That happens later this morning here in Colorado Springs. Joe.
Meantime, Maura, we continue to hear from survivors.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Now, in that reporting, what they're saying is that, well, the guy's neighbor or his friend said that the alleged shooter has hate for the LGBTQ community, okay, despite allegedly being non-binary. Now, CNN, in that first clip that I showed, the spin is that, well, he's just using that as a way to avoid hate crime charges. He's making that up. And I'm like, no. You don't get that, right? You don't get that. You don't get to just say that he's not actually non-binary, because you guys set the precedence that if people just think that they are, you know, non-binary or the opposite gender or whatever, then they can just be that. And anybody that denies them that, you're denying that trans people exist, right? This is what you told us, okay? If you deny somebody's pronouns, if you deny their preferred gender or whatever, you are denying that trans people exist. So no, you don't get to pull the card that he's just identifying as non-binary simply as a way to get out of hate crime charges. First of all, you have no proof to back up that claim. You have no proof. Again, that all that is a deflection. That's a deflection because they know that they jumped the gun too quickly and started falsely accusing people of contributing to or inciting this violence, inciting violence against the LGBTQ community, right-wingers. This guy must have been a Trumper. He's a Republican, right? They blame the Republicans. They blame people like Matt Walsh. I mean, look at this. Daily Kos, a far-left blog, came out here and published a false report about Matt Walsh being upset more gay people weren't killed at the Colorado gay nightclub. Matt Walsh is upset that more gay people weren't killed. This is what they actually put out there, guys. They had to retract it because it was so ridiculous. But this is the type of things that they're saying. I did a video last night on the Young Turks. Them melting down into oblivion over something that Tim Pool said on Twitter. Okay, and they smeared Tim Pool as inciting violence, that he caused this to happen, that he wanted it to happen, that he's happy that gay people or people in the LGBTQ community were killed. This is the type of things they were saying. They didn't wait to any evidence or facts or anything like that came out to support that claim, right? They didn't wait. Any of that came out. They just made the claim. They just ran with it. They do this every single time. Every single time. They did it with the Buffalo shooter. They said the guy was a far-right white supremacist that listened to Tucker Carlson. Dude's manifesto clearly states, I don't like Fox News, and I am a leftist, okay? He clearly stated those things in his manifesto, as if he could not have gotten great replacement theory or learned about it from the left-wing liberal media that talks about it all the time. In fact, Chuck Schumer just came out here and talked about it the other day at a press conference. So again, these people are sick, twisted, and evil. I'm so serious. I'm so serious because by their logic, what we're supposed to do, now that we know that this person is non-binary, and again, you can't take that away from this person. You can't take it away from them because you told us that if you identify as it, if you think, therefore you are, right? Am I supposed to blame the LGBTQ community for what happened? Yeah, am I supposed to do that? Because according to leftist logic, I'm now supposed to do that. How silly does that sound? Of course I wouldn't do that. Of course I wouldn't come out here and say, because this guy is non-binary, that somehow it's the LGBTQ community's fault. Of course I would never say that. That's silly. Just like it's silly to say that if this guy turns out to be a Trump supporter, or if he was a Republican, that it's the Republican Party's fault. That it's Trump's fault. All that is silly to say. But not according to the left, who love to use deaths and tragedy for political gain. They don't care who it is. If you're black and you get shot up in a supermarket by a leftist, they don't care. They're going to exploit it. They're going to make money off of it. If you're children in an elementary school and you get shot up by some lunatic, they don't care. They're going to exploit it. If you're gay, if you're LGBTQ, whatever, and you get shot up, the left don't care. They're going to exploit it. They're going to exploit your death for every dollar they can make, for every woke virtue signal that they can put out there to the public for clicks, views, and likes. They will do it. They don't care. And you trying to tell me that these people are so morally superior to everybody else? I don't think so. These people are scumbags. Anybody that's in the media, boo-hoo, whining, and crying, blaming the Republicans, blaming Tim Pool, blaming Matt Walsh, blaming Libs of TikTok, they are scumbags. Every single last one of them. Because they didn't even let the bodies get cold before pushing their agenda. AOC didn't even let the bodies get cold. Didn't give out condolences to the families, to the victims, before launching a political attack against Lauren Boebert. When are people going to figure out that these leftists don't give a damn about any of these people that they claim they love so much? They don't care. All they care about is power. They only care about you if they can exploit your death for political gain. If they can't virtue signal off tragedy that happens to you, they don't give a damn about you. They don't care about you. You might as well not exist to them. Don't be surprised if the narrative continues to change. This guy happens to not be a Republican. If he's not a Trump supporter, if he is a non-binary person that for whatever reason had some internal, problems or maybe even personal issues that led to this story will disappear. It'll go the way of the Paul Pelosi story. You won't hear about it ever again, right? And if you do hear about it, it's because some local news outlet reported the truth and the mainstream media decided not to pick it up. But they platform individuals who have defamed people, who have tried to ruin people's livelihoods by blaming them as the cause of this tragedy that happened against these people. And all of those people are going to keep their jobs. All of those people are going to get back up and go into work, right? And they're going to go on TV and to give their opinions and their BS propaganda analysis as if these are legitimate journalists and people that should be trusted. When, again, these people couldn't even wait for the facts to come out before pointing fingers. All you had to do is just wait. Just wait a couple days. Just wait a few days. Wait till the facts come out. And if the guy turned out to be some Republican or Trump supporter or whatever, and he was influenced by, the rhetoric against, children being exposed to drag queens, okay, I can understand outrage at that point. I can understand you coming out and saying the things that you're saying. That doesn't mean that people like Matt Walsh or Tucker Carlson or Tim Pool or anybody was the cause of that, okay? Because you have lunatics of all political ideologies. Nobody's encouraging people to go out there and commit acts of violence at all, okay? Nobody's encouraging that. Nobody's saying that. But at that point, at the very least, I can understand the outrage. I get it. These people didn't even wait for the facts to come out. They knew nothing. They knew absolutely nothing and already just smeared conservatives. Called names. Libs of TikTok, Matt Walsh, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool, they're all responsible for this. Blood is on their hands. They incited their followers to go out here and kill LGBTQ people, and they're happy about it. They're happy. Wow. This type of stuff that's actually being said. This is exactly what's being said. And the funny part is that there was a story here based off the facts that we did have, which is that, hey, this guy issued a bomb threat. He was in a standoff with police. Okay, this guy is probably a crazy person. Okay, it's a time to, I don't know, maybe have a conversation about mental health. No. Not juicy enough. We can't smear the right for that. We can't attack Republicans with that. So we're going to decide to ignore that. We're going to ignore the fact this guy was already on the radar. Okay, he probably should have been in jail, right? We're going to ignore all that because that goes against our soft on crime, left-wing criminal justice reform policies that we push, the cause of crime in this country right now. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to focus on unproven allegations that he was influenced by conservative right-wingers. And all those individuals should be sued. They should all be sued, and we should never stop talking about it if the narrative happens to turn out that this guy was not some MAGA guy or a Trump supporter or a Republican that went out and committed this act of violence for political reasons. Okay, again, if it turns out that that narrative doesn't fit, that maybe this was some type of personal issue he had with somebody, okay, maybe he was a part of the community, he had some beef. If it turns out, again, that it wasn't the original mainstream liberal media narrative, which, again, is that this guy was some Republican, he's a Trump supporter, that was influenced by Matt Walsh and Tim Pool to go and kill people, yeah, we should never stop talking about it. Because when we stop talking about it, that's when they win. That's when they win, is when you stop talking about it. This is why I'm not going to stop talking about the Paul Pelosi story. I'm going to follow it to the end. I'm not going to let it go. The Buffalo shooter. He turns out he was a leftist white supremacist, right? Didn't know you could have those. Didn't know you could have left-wing white supremacists, right? Yeah. I'm just saying. We can't let it go. We can't let them forget that this is what they did. And people need to be sued. There need to be lawsuits filed because defamatory and slanderous statements have been made in the media against people, falsely blaming them or accusing them of inciting this murder, this tragedy against the LGBTQ community. So again, I don't know what happened. All I'm saying is that we should just wait for all the facts to come out. But apparently that's really hard for the mainstream liberal media, and they already are looking stupid considering how one of the first pieces of actual evidence and facts from the case that comes out shows that, hey, well, he wasn't straight, right? He was not straight. Okay, and again, you can't tell him that he's not. You can't take away his identity as non-binary because, again, you told us that you are what you identify as, right? Again, we should not be denying the existence of transgender people. That's what the left told us. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.